I need to memorize him. What I mean is, I need to stick it in my mind that I'm actually watching David Gilmour playing his guitar now. Full disclosure, this is not my first time listening to Shine On You Crazy Diamond, because actually this is the weekly poll winner, Patreon poll winner, which the song was selected for me to listen to by the Patreon members. However, this month's Patreon poll winner for full album listen coincidentally happened to be Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here album, and I just listened to that yesterday. You can find, if you want to hear it, you can find the link here or in the album description. Feel free to check it out. So today, for Shine On You Crazy Diamond poll winner, I am going to be listening for the first time to the Pulse concert version, which I understand was an iconic performance. Pulse is the third live album by Pink Floyd, released in 1995. It was recorded during the European leg of Pink Floyd's Division Bell tour in 1994. So it's not just a live performance, but they actually turned it into an album release? That's interesting. Unlike the previous Pink Floyd live album, Delicate Sound of Thunder, no parts of this album were re-recorded in the studio. So it's literally, truly the live performance. The album was certified 2 times platinum by the RIAA on the 31st of July 1995 for shipments of 1 million units. Well, this is more than just an iconic live performance then. This is shall I say a published live performance? Because it was turned into an album? This is going to be fun. Let's listen. I have no idea how big this crowd was for this concert, but it sounds plenty big. I guess this is what I called trumpet in the album listen yesterday. Ah, now I can see him actually playing it. Somehow today it sounds a bit more flute-like than trumpet, at least in this first bit. Even wooden flute. I love the way that opening is so, should I say, I'm going to pause for just a second here. The way he plays that opening, and I guess the thing that makes it sound more trumpet-like than flute-like is the articulation of it, the way each note is placed. And it's such a beautiful example of the power of timing, placement, setting a note. Because it's more than just articulation. It's more than just the fact that there is a little bit of a gap between the note. When we talk about articulation in music, we're talking about how the note is begun and how it is ended. And for example, the difference between staccato and legato, but there is a myriad of degrees of of distinction between that. So every note has its own articulation. Here, it's more than just that. It's more than just the fact that each note is clearly started and clearly ended. Bum, bum. And that you hear this cutoff before the next note begins. Bum, bum, cutoff. It has to do also with, as I said, the power of placement. The best way I can think to describe this is kind of a physical action. If I take a dish of, let's say a nice dish of fruit, all nicely stacked, looking really attractive, and I just carry it over and plop it on the table and walk away. Well, I have just served the fruit, but it's a whole different feel than if I carry the dish and I take a moment and I set it, and then I remove my hands and I step back to enjoy for a second and just evaluate. Okay, yeah, that's good. And then I walk away, right? It's the idea of placement. And how do I place it? Do I give attention to the placement, or do I simply put it there in a utilitarian manner? And or you can think of it even differently. You can think of it like putting a picture up for display. You can take a picture, let's say, well, I have a toddler, right? So let's say my toddler draws me a picture in her little toddler style, and she brings it to me, and I thank her, and I take a magnet and I stick it on the fridge and go about my day. Sure. What if I take that picture and I frame it and I put a nail in the wall and I hang it and I straighten it and make sure it's all nice. And it's not just about the act of placing it there, but also the frame around it also places it, brings attention to it, puts a sort of sacred space around it, we could say. What I'm trying to describe is the way I hear this opening melody, which I'm vacillating between calling it trumpet or flute because it's kind of a mix. I hear it more as trumpet in the way it's articulated. You don't hear flute played like that very often. However, in this performance, as opposed to the album performance, it does tend far more towards the wooden flute sound than the trumpet sound. But the thing I love about it is the way every note is placed with such attention and such importance. And I don't mean importance in a sort of self-absorbed way, but value. Each note is valued, and the value and importance of that note is appreciated. Let's go back and listen to this, and then we'll move on. Even that dum bum bum bum. Dum bum 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 bum. Dum ba dum. If he'd simply gone bum da dum bum, right? Bum da dum bum. That's what he's doing. Bum da dum bum. He's placing it with a little bit of extra care and attention. There. You hear that? It makes it stand out. It makes it more than just, oh, nice melody, some pretty sounds. It's so special, and it sets the tone. And makes a fabulous contrast to this guitar, which is coming in now. I need to memorize him. What I mean is, I need to stick it in my mind that I'm actually watching David Gilmour playing his guitar now. And it's not the focal point, but I like the way this organ just lays a table, spreads a table for the guitar to explore. There's that bass. I noticed that in my album listen yesterday as well. The drums are articulated slightly differently, but I still like. You know, one of the things that I'm really enjoying about seeing this performance, I think it is one of the most enjoyable, should I say, videography side of things. I like the way they're just focusing on the instruments for an extended period of time, for long enough for me to really watch and enjoy seeing each one at their instrument. It's not so much about a video clip that is designed for artistic, expressive purposes. It's more about watching the performers. I like the way the camera lingers on each one for a bit. Like back when he was, let's see which hand. Yeah, when he was using that little bar that makes the sound wobble, right? I've seen it used, and I know about its use, but I just enjoyed seeing and hearing the results in this relaxed pace of, oh yes, that's how he's getting all those subtle differences in sound. And even their demeanor on stage, it's more about performing the music than it is about some gymnastic antics. To figure out where this bass is coming from. I don't see a bass guitar. I wonder if it might be one of the keyboardists playing.
Remember when you were young, you shone like the sun. Black holes in the sky. Shine on, you crazy diamond.
So nicely coordinated.
Childhood and sparkle, blown on the steel breeze. Come on, you target for faraway laughter. Come on.
I'm remembering in the album listen yesterday, the way each section of this piece felt like it was treating time from a different perspective. And in this live performance, I don't find myself relating to it in that way so much. This has more of a continuous consistency in, shall I say, vantage point, perspective. It doesn't feel so much like, as I said yesterday, the first section felt like I was looking back to a different time. And then it felt like I was back in that different time, present in that different time. And each section kind of gave me a sense of placement in time differently. This is a little bit different in the way it comes across. And I'm not sure if it's, well, probably a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's a live concert. And so you can't get quite the same contrast in mixing and balance as you would in studio recording. So each section blends into the next more smoothly, I guess I would say. And I think that's one of the reasons that I don't find myself relating to it in that manner as I did yesterday. But I do like it. And one of the things that I'm really enjoying and appreciating, it sounds incredibly dull when I say it, but it's the incredibly professional performance of this. The things that make it stand head and shoulders above any old live performance. It's the precision, the subtle but highly developed ways of shaping the music, of coloring the notes, of the timing. They're so incredibly well together, and each one is contributing just the right amount to the piece to make it incredibly beautiful, incredibly expressive. And I chose the word professional because they're doing it not as a job, not as this is our job, I need to do this just like this, but more like they've done it a million times before and they don't have to think about it. It's so easy. It's so easy for them, and it's so natural for them. And it's also not about them. I guess I mentioned it. I'm enjoying the fact that there aren't a whole lot of stage antics going on here. I'm enjoying the fact that it's just about the music. Maybe that's my classical side coming through, because that's usually how we approach, how we relate to performing as well. We're, as classical musicians, there isn't this tradition of doing all sorts of antics on stage. Sometimes, occasionally, someone might do it just to switch things up. But historically, the tradition is you want to disappear. Was it yesterday in the album listen I said that? Or was that a different song recently that I listened to and I said that? You want to disappear as a performer. You don't want to be visible. You don't want the attention to be on you. You want the attention to be on the music, on the expression, artistic expression, on the experience of this music that you're listening to. That's what you want. And that is what I feel and experience so strongly here with this, that it's not about them. It's all about the music. And even as I'm listening and commenting on all the technical details and things I'm observing and hearing as I go along, I am so enjoying simply the music and the expressive beauty of the music. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because they are so incredibly professional in their performance. The way those notes are shaped and colored, every fraction of a second, that lift there.
You cry for the moon.
Where everything just opens up there for shine.
Threatened by shadows at night, exposed in the light. Shine on,
You just lose yourself in the sound.
well, you want your welcome with random precision. Roll on the steel breeze. Come on, you raven.
I still really enjoy this progression of descent and then ascent. It's a sort of dissonance, a pressurizing, a kind of stress. And there's the saxophone. again. Such a great retard.
Nobody knows where you are.
Just enjoying how the instrumental mix and blend is used to shape the sonic experience. As I was saying, the organ just swirling there, it gives this really orchestral feel, even though really there aren't that many instruments playing. We have organ, guitar, drums, saxophone. Okay, saxophone is added in there. And that's pretty much it. But the multiple layers of sound, colors, and the constant, well, you can think of it kind of like what I'm seeing on the screen here with the lights. You know, everything is, there are lights coming from every direction, and the shades, like the screen that I stopped on right here. You have the bright spots, you have all the different shades of blue, and you have from white all the way to black, and the lines crossing. It's what I'm trying to describe is the way that organ really expands the canvas, the sonic canvas. So it has this sort of, you can even say, universal, looking out into the vast universe, or spread across the vastness of the universe feel to it. And then it lightened up. The organ mostly disappeared, and things became more distinct, more narrow, and more pointed. And then it even diminished even more to this wonderful moment of almost nothing at all. It was so smoothly graded. It was not something that you would sit and say, oh, I noticed that cut off. I noticed that cut off. I noticed that disappear. It happens so smoothly that unless you're paying attention, you probably don't even notice what's going on. But still, it has a huge impact on the listening experience. There, that little lift, that break, where everything cut off. And even before that, it was much more limited in the notes that were being played, and really sets up. In fact, I could say it's the orchestral version of what I was commenting on at the beginning, with just the single keyboard melody, when I was talking about placement and how do you frame and place something. This is in a little bit broader view, because now we're not just talking about a single note. We're talking about a section of the music, a moment that is not just that single note, but it is the beginning of a whole new, in this case, sung melody, right? But all of this is a kind of orchestral or band-wide careful placing of the next thing that comes. Listen how they do this.
Nobody knows.
And here it is.
How near or how far. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Pile on many more
Another moment.
layers, but I'll be joining you there.
contrast and texture as well. So here, there was that, and all along, I haven't really commented on it yet, but there's this chorus of female voices. And they kind of stay in the background. They kind of stay mixed with the organ stuff, right? But still, it's a different tonal quality. It's a different kind of sound. And so we could say it's a different color. It's a different musical color. And there's a lot of this subtle shading happening here. It reminds me of the kind of layering that we find both harmonic and texturally and tonally that we find in the Romantic era, the German, even the big German, Austrian composers with their massive, miles deep orchestral scores that have so much in the terms of coloration and tonal shading, it almost gets too much. This isn't too much. It's on a much smaller scale. But it's that kind of sensitivity to the subtleties of each instrument, each voice, and what it contributes to the overall piece of music. And then, because of all of this very subtle, thick layering of tonal colors, when that guitar comes in with its more pointed and still also a little bit gritty sound, we enjoy it so much because it's like, in a way, it's like eating a whole meal of warm, soft foods, and then finally at the end, after all these rich flavors, we get to eat something bright and light, maybe even cold or crunchy, something, such a contrast. And it fits, but it still works so incredibly well, and it stands out from all the rest of the sonic experience we've had. These are warm and soft. Even the guitar is smooth here. You have the voices in the background. Everything's pulled together. Still smooth, still gentle, still soft. It's full, but it's still, there's a softness to it. Here, that's a different texture. Back to the warmth and the smoothness.
Come on, you boy child, you winner and loser. Come on, you fighter for truth and illusion. And
It's almost like, I don't know, looking out into space. All the stars out there, the twinkling stars. Again, looking deep into the vast universe. An incredible complexity. You know, that last little portion there, it's like the twinkling stars. It's the looking out into the vast universe beyond this world and the incredible complexity, the way it's all so intricate and beautiful and sparkling and twinkling. Before I go to the diamond idea, which is rather basic, I don't remember if the album version ended that way. I don't remember, because I was processing so much and exploring so much yesterday. But today, it really stands out to me. And I relate it to my experience yesterday with the full album. And that is, when we got to the end, I felt like it was, as I said then, I felt like it was a kind of blessing, a kind of, it was more than a tribute. It was a blessing. It was a well-wishing. There's this very understanding, honest, and yet benevolent. Maybe benevolent doesn't quite sound right. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with the word blessing. It's better. As I said yesterday, kind of like an Irish blessing. I wish you all the best of everything and everything and everything. But it's not quite that, because as I said yesterday as well, this piece doesn't just wish all the good. It acknowledges all the bad. There's this whole picture embracing of the whole picture. And that is what I feel at the end here when I said it's like all the twinkling stars. I feel like that is saying something about that. It's saying it's very easy to look at things in a limited manner, to look at to view an experience or a person from one angle, from one experience, from one perspective that isn't the whole picture. And it's the acknowledgement that life is incredibly complex. This universe is incredibly complex. Each person is incredibly complex. And as we know, this was written as a tribute to Syd Barrett and the story of his deterioration, his we could say his descent into insanity, and but at the same time, it's not saying, oh, he's a bad person for that, or oh, he screwed up and he destroyed his life. It's acknowledging that things are much more complex than they appear on the surface. Much more. It's hard to say just this and that. It is the experience of life in this world, in this universe. And it is an acknowledgement that there's so much more out there involved than we can ever understand. And so again, I end up with the same feeling at the end of this performance as I felt yesterday at the end of the album, that there is a kind of grace being extended. There's a kind of it's not approval. It's not saying it's all good, but it's saying you in all your complexity and all the things that have taken you where you are and everything involved that we see and that we don't see. We still wish to see you shine. We still want you to shine. And if you cannot shine yourself, we wish and we desire to have the universe shine on you. There's, as I said, this play on words. Shine on, you crazy diamond, or shine on you, crazy diamond. And I still feel like, even though it's such a different experience today than yesterday, although they're very much still the same pieces of music, I still finish and come up with that same conclusion of how did this, what is this saying to me? What is the thing that I take away from this listening experience? And that is what it is. And I think it's something that all of us can appreciate, all of us can be grateful for, and perhaps all of us can extend to those around us that we don't understand why they are the way they are. At least we can appreciate who they are, the parts that we do understand, and shine on you, crazy diamond.